Okay, good morning, everybody. We're here with our rescheduled error correction nuts and bolts with the fabulous Ramy. I'm really excited that Ramy could join us today. We were meant to meet at the Innovate conference back in Barcelona in May, but due to various problems, Ramy wasn't able to make it. So I was so pleased when he said that he would come along and share his session with us here in the Facebook group, in the TEFL Development Hub. So I'm going to pass over to Ramy and I'll let him introduce himself. The way that we know each other as well is through the DIP-TESOL. So if you've got any questions about the DIP-TESOL, throw them in the chat as well. Thank you so much, Ramy, for coming along today.
Thank you very much, Tracy, and really can't thank you enough for inviting me for your Hub Development WhatsApp or Facebook group. I'm really thrilled about being here, and I really appreciate the opportunity for providing you with the error correction presentation. This is me, Ramy Rashad. I'm a teacher trainer, CELTS tutor from Egypt. I've spent like more than 15 or 40 maybe years of teaching adults, teens. I've got my CELTA in 2018, and it was like a dramatic change because after CELTA, I've realized that I've been teaching blindly before, and suddenly I'm familiar with the terminology, the approaches, the strategies, the technique, the theories, and it went very well for me. Then I did my CELTS course with Cambridge University after I got 2 certificates from Cambridge about the TKT exam, the first module and the second module. I'm doing my Delta as you've told them, and really it went very well for me with the DIP-TESOL because I've passed successful Unit 3 and Unit 4 last February, and I've done also the Train the Trainer certificate from Cambridge University, and I got my IELTS teaching certificate from London Teacher Training College in 2020. Like, I spent quality time learning the same I spent it while teaching. So thank you very much again and again, Tracy. This is going to be all about me, and thank you very much for inviting me to this session. Thank you very much.
You're what we might call a professional development junkie, Ramy.
Yes, exactly. Seems like that. Okay, and thank you very much, Tracy, and hopefully now you can see my screen. Yes, exactly. And Tracy, I'll be asking you, I know that you are a DIP-TESOL tutor. Many of the questions, you seem familiar with them before showing them. I got that before, but let me try to ask you, which of the following do you have the most sympathy?
Yeah, I go more towards view 2. And I think, yeah, we need to make as much of errors as we can in a positive way so that our learners feel free to make errors in the classroom. And that's the way they learn. You know, often you remember more the things that happened through a mistake than through kind of your more passive learning, I think.
Yes, exactly. It's like, I felt it's very natural. Like some teachers, from my observation, my reflection, after I've been observing many teachers in the TEFL courses, CELTA and Delta and DIP-TESOL, teachers usually, or some teachers usually feel bad once that they are finding out that the learners are making mistakes, and they may be over blaming themselves. What happened? What went very well, or what didn't go that well, so that my learners are making mistakes. It's like bad reflection for the future. And some teachers are like perfection seeker. They want the learners to always provide them and the other or the others about having a usual habit of producing good language, error-free language. And it's like they skip the rule, or they skip the fact that, as you said, errors are very natural. And it doesn't always mean that something has gone wrong in the teaching or in the learning process. And if you are not feeling like, it's like a piece of cake when one of your learners is making a mistake, you will be putting like extra loads over your shoulders while teaching, because you are just waiting for everything to be okay and you don't want your learner to generate mistakes. This reflects very well on your behavior, because some teachers are impatient. Once one of the learners is making mistakes, some discouraging facial expressions, and it could somehow, from my observation, I discovered that it could somehow affect the rapport, because like learners would say that this teacher is good, but he doesn't want us to make mistakes. It could be counterproductive as well. So I totally agree with you. Making errors or mistakes is very natural, and we should usually reflect on what happened, and it should be viewed positively as an opportunity to help the learner. But before discussing this, we've got some main concepts about the process itself, about the error correction, like what is an error, what is a slip. And this could be added to the teacher knowledge before he entered the class while planning his or her lesson. You need to think carefully about those terms: errors, slips. Why is it important? Is it because your teacher trainer or your observer say that it's important for learners to make mistakes, so I will just believe it and I will just act according with it, or we should think about it in a different way? And in some cases, we can learn from our learners' mistakes. And the most important about that is what should happen. Like you're feeling that your learner are generating mistakes. Like for some levels, like the elementary or the starter level, this is very common and very normal. Elementary level seems that they are always generating mistakes. They don't have enough input and they are always generating mistakes. Mistakes are scattered here and there. So what is the teacher role in relation to learner mistakes? So let me test you, Tracer. What do you think about the error and the slip?
Oh, okay. So the way that I was always told it was a slip is when a learner makes a mistake and you kind of bring their attention to it and they can automatically self-correct. So, you know, it's those things that just through fluency, their accuracy is perhaps not as good, but they know the grammar, they know the rules, they know what they should say. Whereas an error is something perhaps that students haven't learned yet, that maybe, you know, they're trying to make a sentence with the third conditional, but because they don't have that knowledge, they're making a mistake.
Yes, exactly. Like traces, sometimes slips are there because of tiredness. Learners are tired, worried, maybe, or sometimes they are in a different situation or something. They are some learners may generate mistakes if they are speaking in front of the others. I'm sorry, slips if they are speaking in front of the others. So they are generating slips. And as you said, many learners can autocorrect their slips if you just give them enough time. And this is right. But about the error, it's exactly what they don't know. So it's beyond the current level of language processing. And I'll be discussing this. What do we mean by the current level of language or of knowledge processing? Let me language, because like, you know, error correction will mainly deal with language systems, but let me expand the idea a little bit and saying it's about what is beyond their knowledge processing. And if you think that we should say, oh, teacher trainers, observers, think that it's important for learners to make mistakes, I want to ask you why.
Well, I think it gives them confidence to play with the language. You know, if you can only make sentences with what you've been given, you're very limited. You know, the things that the teacher teaches you won't necessarily be your voice. And so, you know, as a student, as a learner, there'll be things that you want to say, whether it's because there's a particular word in your head, or, you know, there's a structure that you might use in your first language that you want to express in the language you're
Super.
learning. So yeah, I think
Super, exactly. Exactly, Trace. It's exactly as what you said. And what you believe in is really like a trend nowadays, because I'm sure that many teachers are aware about the importance of the emergent language now. So now it's important, yes, because sometimes it will give you an opportunity to upgrade the process. It's not only about providing them with the right answer or just making them aware about the mistakes. No, sometimes it's a perfect opportunity for teachers to upgrade according to the lexical approach, according to many other approaches. They can upgrade the language. They can tell their learners about a more effective phrases or lexical for a specific situation or a specific context. So I think, yes, this is a trend now, and a discussion, or maybe a conflict about the importance of providing learners with emergent language. I believe that while taskifying the error correction process, it could be an upgrade for learners to provide them with their language they may need, or they may feel that they need it, but they would never ask their teacher about it. So it's exactly, Tracy, as you said, we believe that error is a mistake, but this mistake is made by a learner, and he or she's trying to say something that is above or beyond the level of language. And for many errors, many learners wouldn't be able to self-correct an error, but a slip. But it happens, but learners here are able to correct themselves. And we usually consider errors to be important because they are necessary. And as you said, learners need experience with language in order to work out how language works. If they don't experience, you start by saying, we've got that kind of passive learners. And teachers can learn from what learners know. We could usually find what they need to be taught, as I said before, and we usually find out what aspects of the language they have processed. And it could give us a good chance to adapt our teaching plans and programs. This is the last point is a nice when and how to correct it. And this could be with this part from Jeremy Harmer, masterpiece, How to Teach English. I'll be giving you like 2 minutes, and I want you to read this example quickly, and let me listen to your insights after you finish reading. How are students being corrected during this stage?
We've had a great comment come in from Karen. She says when she does feedback, she'll sometimes say, you said this, but could you say it differently? Or why would you say it this way? To kind of get them thinking about the language.
Exactly.
I love the surprised questioning intonation. One of my favorite ones to do with students is when they make...
And exactly. And let me ask you, Tracy, another question here. How do you feel if you've got a teacher who chose to correct Monica on the spot? Like, if instead of saying safer planes, he will say, this is not right. And how do you feel about it?
Yeah, I mean, I think introducing that kind of element of humor, safer planes, it breaks the ice a little bit, breaks the tension that a student might feel around making an error, particularly depending on their first language culture, the education that they've received. You know, if they've come from a place where errors in any subject are really bad, you know, that kind of anxiety around making mistakes in the class can do a lot to help to harm their self-esteem and their confidence when speaking. So yeah, using humor is always good.
Yes, Tracer, like perfectly said. I really can't agree more. If you find that the teacher tried to just point out that something is wrong, and as you said, he tried to do a kind of echoing, like he tried to repeat what Monica said, and what happened after? Wonderful. Like Monica managed to self-correct her sentence. It went very well for her here. And like, yes, the teacher directly praised her answer. Okay. And what about them? Or what about Simon? Let me ask you about Simon. How do you feel about the correction here?
I think a lot with this, a lot depends on the classroom dynamics. Like if you've got a group of learners who are comfortable with each other and confident speaking in front of each other, it's not a bad thing to ask learners to peer correct. But it's definitely something I would be more wary of depending on the individual. Like I might use it for some students, but not others.
Not for all. Yes, exactly. Like number one priority here is, as you say, the classroom atmosphere. Like he felt that there is a good relation between Simon and Bruno. So again, the teacher felt that it's not his first responsibility to correct the student directly. Why not? Let me invite another one to join the conversation and let me do that kind of pair correction or something. And it went very well. Then with the last one, Matilde. What do you think about the teacher reaction here?
With this one?
Yes, yes, Matilde, the girl here.
Yeah, it feels like perhaps it might be too much information for the student to process.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, the teacher's trying to do a good job of explaining what the error is, but no, it's overwhelming for the student, I think.
Yes, exactly. And what I love here, Tracer, that maybe the teacher judged Matilde that she won't be happy if someone else corrected her mistakes. So he decided to go on with her, just trying to let her with him, with his support, to find out, to figure out the mistake or the error. So yes, finally she got it, and the teacher praised her. He said, well done. And let me say, or let me stop about this word. This is very common, praise. Learners love being praised, but do you usually praise, or do you, let me say it in another, or let me rephrase it, do you always praise your learners?
I hope so. I read an interesting article by Cecilia Nobre recently about kind of overpraising our learners.
Yes.
So I think, yeah, we sometimes have the habit of being a bit too enthusiastic about everything, particularly if you teach young learners and then you teach adults. You know, you sometimes forget adults perhaps don't need as much praise. But yeah, I still think it's important in the classroom.
Yes, exactly. It's still important, but as you said, you need to be selective about the moments, about the achievements, which should be praised, because sometimes praise could be devalued. Okay, and sometimes could be meaningless. And I believe that it's only effective if learners know what they are praised for. If they believe they themselves believe is that what they've done is really merited, and I'm waiting for it to happen. But if not, yes, like we don't, like, many teachers need to be aware that they don't, or they shouldn't overuse it. So I totally agree with what you said. Thank you very much, Tracer, for sharing this. And then if we got a quick, oh, I'm sorry, if we give it a quick look here, if we try to go inside the teacher's mind here, we will discover that the error correction passed by 3 stages, but definitely the first stage is recognition. And I can't move forward without being fully aware about the mistake or the error I need to work on with the teacher. I'm sorry, with the learner. The teacher needs to work on with the learner. So let me think about the classifications of some common repeated error in the classroom, Tracer. I'll be giving you like a minute.
You're making me work this morning, Ramy. I like it. All kind of typical errors I think we can imagine our students having made at some point or other in their lessons.
Exactly, like more frequent than others. So yes, like very typical. What do you think about the first one? She likes her job. She worked for the same company for years.
F, problem with the choice of verb form.
Exactly. And we will be analyzing things, but just to highlight the process itself, about the recognition process itself. And what about the second one?
It's great. Karen's jumped ahead. She's putting the answers in the chat. So 2E.
Yes, exactly. I just want to share something with you, Tracer, because during my Delta, I've taught some Greek learners. This is not a problem for the Greek language, because yes, in Greek, like they usually say, send me the answer inside the classroom. Tell me the answer, send me the presentation, share with me the file. They say it directly, but like as what happened, or after what I've taught with the Depteso or with the Depteso diploma, or during the Depteso diploma, because I've taught for many other different nationalities, like for most English speaking environments, we usually need to soften the language, like saying please or something. So I won't say bring me the meat in a restaurant. I think it won't be that nice for everyone. Thank you very much. How about the third one? What do you think?
So we're up to number 3D.
Yes, it's a problem with the choice of words, of vocabulary. Yes. Okay, what about number 4?
Number 4, 4B. But Karen makes a good point here. She says it's difficult to know without, like, obviously if you were in the classroom and you heard the learners, yeah,
yes,
but
exactly,
you know, we might mark it with arrows or something.
Yes, yeah. But I'm just trying to mention that for many learners, they are not sure about the right intonation for each question tag, whether they are doubting, so they are not sure, or it's a re-question. So yes, I think yes, this learner may a problem with intonation. Okay, how about the 5th one?
5A.
Okay, this is not the right stress, so it's a problem with the word stress. Okay, what about the 6th one?
6C.
Okay, it's about the word order. Thank you very much. And it's a quick guide to the classifications of or what should happen inside our minds once we are having that, or some frequent errors. We usually have it in our classroom. And it couldn't be sure without this part, Trace. And this is how things may go wild. It's about the inner language. I'm sure that you've heard about it before. It's exactly about what happens in our learners' minds. Now we've recognized the errors, but still the question is crystal clear. Tracer, why do our learners, or why are our learners making mistakes?
Oh, why? Big question. Well, it's where those kind of the links that there's an overlap perhaps then
Yes.
in their language. Yeah, so
Yes.
that's why the lexical approach
Yes.
is so good, because you learn chunks,
Yes.
which kind of helps
You're
to
picking
separate
chunks,
it.
yes, and trying not to over depend on your first language, because maybe you won't find the same equivalent for this in your first language. So please skip it and try to use the real language. Yes, it's exactly about language A, which is L1, like what happens with the L1, what happens with what the learner is tried before, many times before he is in the classroom. And then the target language, which the teacher is trying to teach, maybe for the first time, or maybe he's teaching it for a second or third time. And it's crucial to know where a learner's interlanguage currently is. We've got many reasons for this. And this could be one of the extremely good, one of the absolutely nice points about the depth TESOL. How you would design your lesson accordingly with your learner profiles. This is amazing. I can't forget the experience, Tracer. You're teaching them according to what they already know. So this lesson will cater, will fit their requirements. And I've tried to think about it here. If we want to find 3 reasons at least for this, we will find that reason number 1, the interlanguage knowledge is telling us what the learner is likely to know already, and that really helps us to plan what to teach. The second reason is that it helps us to decide what to correct in the class. As you said, there is no point, maybe little point, but I'm saying no point in trying to correct a very elementary, a starter learner about a complex third conditional form, because it will take too long time. And from my experience, Tracer, I discovered that suddenly it turned to be like a guessing game. It's very demotivating. Learners can't get it. And teacher is still trying and trying. Some teachers may try to use their L1 to clarify it. And now you are increasing your talking time. You are decreasing your learners' talking time. And suddenly it doesn't make any sense, because it simply doesn't match their interlanguage knowledge. And the third reason is that it usually, or it always helps us to recognize whether an error should be corrected by you. Is it your first responsibility now to interact? Again, about the trend of having a more student-centered class. Will you be controlling them? Do they really need you while correcting themselves? Or, as we've discussed about Jeremy Harmer example, could it be self-corrected? If you know the inner language level, it will be very helpful here, and it could help you to make the right decision. And the question with a deeper research, a frequent question, why do students make mistakes? And believe it or not, it doesn't relate to the teacher now. As we've discussed before, we've got that kind of interlanguage. And the definition could be that learners are generating their own version of the second language, because they are creating their own grammatical system. It doesn't relate to the first language or their target language. It's a new version. They're creating a new version. And the teacher here may be irresponsible. It's something happens inside their minds. maybe during the silent period, the silent period when some learners are just processing what they've learned, and and some teachers, from my observation, Teresa, some teachers feel worried because learners are now having blank faces and they don't speak a lot. So like they are worried. They understand? Didn't they understand? Shall I ask more concept checking questions or shall I stop? It's a kind of like you need to be aware about it before taking a decision about what is really happening inside your learners. This could be the first reason from my point of view. And the second one, what do you think about it? It's very common.
That happens quite a lot. We've also just had a great comment coming from Karen saying, I think if there is an error that leads to miscommunication, misunderstanding, breakdowns in communication, then I would probably make the decision to correct.
Exactly. I could add a nice extract here. Yes, Karen, you may need to correct it, but remember, yes, it always happens when it's much related to your target language or the communication. Maybe it will affect the communication or the way of exchanging things or discussing things between you and the learner, between the learner themselves. So I will head for it. So yes, this is a nice. And about the second, what do you think about this, Tracy? This is the second reason.
Yeah. I mean, I think we've all had experiences of learners coming up with often grammatical structures, but sometimes as well vocabulary through false friends and things, where just the influence of their L1 affects their production in the second
Exactly.
language.
Yes. This is mainly because of the L1 interference. What happened here is that again the teacher is not responsible because it's exactly about what the learners are coming with to the classroom. So yes, I totally agree. This is another thing. And this point, it's exactly I've read before that some teachers are over correct and some teachers are under correct. They are skipping the correction process at all. So how could we define this? It's now happened.
So this, as you know, as people in the hub know, every week we do a Wednesday question. And I think when I did a question on this, it's the only questions that never received any responses. And it was, how do you deal with fossilization in the classroom? Yeah.
Exactly.
So nobody knows, basically.
Yes. Exactly, Tracer. It's like maybe during the period I've been teaching in school for preparatory stages, for secondary stages, I've discovered that yes, many teachers are now on the opposite of correcting their learners. They skip the process at all. So learners are satisfied with what they are generating. And yes, what happens is that now incorrect language is a habit. And simply, it can't easily be corrected. Yes, it's exactly as you said. Thank you very much. Another thing, yes, it's an error, but like it's natural. And now we are could be related to the children once they are learning the first language. But it disappears as their language ability improves if the developmental error.
So would this be kind of an example of the overgeneralization of errors? Thanks again, Karen. So when, like when you learn kind of I played, I watched, and then a student says I goed, I eated.
It's common, yes, it's common. It's exactly the common one. It's when a student uses a grammatical rule, but you are using it because you believe that it will be valid for all situations, for all structures. So yes, I would simply say this is overgeneralization. Again, I believe it's very natural, and sometimes it could, I believe that here, I usually practice before. The best scenario here, Tracer, if we discover that there aren't many learners suffering from this problem, you can do a quick or like a quick thing of micro teaching. Like you are very near to the learner. Remember, it's a direct teaching, but it's very effective. You're just telling him that this won't be valid with blah 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 or something, and you don't have to stop a lot because it could be like an individual case. It doesn't happen there. You don't have to overgeneralize it. I mean, you can just teach it for who needs to learn it. So yes, it's overgeneralization. Okay, and the second point is that now, yes, I knew what happened, why it happened, and now how best to deal with it. Scrindra, this is the first teaching book I've ever read. And I don't believe that it's till now, it's still valid. I believe that these steps are very practical and very down to earth when it comes to the error correction. Scrivener wrote that number one, as we've tried the sequence, is that number one, we decided what kind of errors. And then the second one is very crucial. As Karen said, is it useful to correct it? Do we really need to correct it? Karen said something important. It's really an important extract to the session. We usually correct it if it's related, if it's much related to the target language, or it will affect the communication. So yes. And the third one is really important too. Decide when to deal with it. Is it now? Is it delayed? Is it the middle of the activity? And the fourth one is related to the scenario we've discussed. Who will do it? Teacher, student, group. Okay. And the best option is just you allow the self-correction, the pair correction, the group correction, and suddenly, if you didn't find that it is running very well, do it on your own. But just some teachers just need to be patient. Just control the process and don't worry, don't over worry about it. Okay. And let's discuss it in a more detail where I'll be writing with you, Tracer, in this. This is let me hide it first. Okay, this is much clearer. Now, this is supposed to be in breakout rooms or between there, but let me do it with you. We've got here the same error, but we've got like 6 teachers, and those 6 teachers responded differently to the same error. And we've got here like 6 strategies, like the meta-linguistic clues or using terminology, repetition, finger correction, ask us a question, and reformulation, maybe delayed correction. I will be giving you like maybe 2 or 3 minutes. I want you to think about the advantages and disadvantages of each one. Just imagine that this is the first teacher and he used this strategy. What is the advantage of using it, and what could be the disadvantage of using it? I'll be writing this with you to be a good reference, a good guidance for the future, but I'll be giving you like 3 or 4 minutes to think about it firstly. Okay?
I shall get my thinking cap on, Ramy.
I'm sorry. Yes, I didn't mean to test you, Tracer. You're my tutor, so I know my limits.
Good. No, I mean, you always learn new things, and it helps to have refreshers of these things as well, definitely.
Yes, exactly.
Mhm. It's quite fun when we do the Cert TESOL teacher training course, introducing the teachers to all the different ways that they can correct the same error. So something like this, it's a really nice approach to take, not only to show them how they can correct the errors, but also the pros and cons of each way of doing it, in terms of speed and efficiency, etc.
Yes, exactly, exactly. And I've always think about trying, Teresa, to expand the idea a little bit. Like this is exactly what I've discussed during this Sulta, and like this activity generated many discussions about the best way, and is really in the LT inside the classroom practice what we could call the best way. Like you must use it, and it's like it's second to none of other techniques or other strategies, and that's why we could think about the advantage, the disadvantage about each one. And let me stop sharing the screen. Let me stop sharing the present so that I could write for you, or we could add things to, we could think about things together. So let me share it once again, Tracy. Okay. And about the first one, Tracy, I've thought here that the teacher is simply directing his or her learner attention to the point which cause the problem. We go to the cinema yesterday. So grammar, and some teachers may say, is it the right grammar? Is it the right pronunciation? It is right tense. The advantage here is it's really easy because many teachers, even if they are not teaching for a while, or even if they don't have enough experience, they are very familiar with those terms. They know those terms very well, and they want to share it or to share them with their learners. So yes, it usually, I feel that many teachers may believe that it's easy and it's effective because it's very direct. It tells the type of the error that the learner should be looking for. The disadvantage is that for some classes, I believe that, especially for the starter or the elementary classes, some learners won't be familiar with those terms. So again, you are adding confusion to the process itself. Learners' minds may be busy with the word grammar. So suddenly their minds are off, switched off for the sentence itself, for the context. You've tried to pult and you've pulled it successfully, and suddenly they are thinking about something else, which is grammar. So yes, you can do it, but please take care, or please be aware that your learners really need to be familiar with the terminology used. And if they are not, it will be again a kind of guessing games. You are just telling things and you are increasing your talking time during your class. So this is number one. What about the second one? What do you think? Here, we've tried to repeat the utterance to the point of the error. And sometimes, if you look here, sometimes the teacher may repeat it. And as you said, with stress sometimes, or rising intonation, and like yesterday you go to the same. So what do you think about the advantage of this one, Tracy?
Aaron's on the case. She says a good thing is that you make the students aware of the error, so they know at what point in the sentence the error occurred, and it encourages them to self-correct.
Excellent, excellent. It's a self-correction because suddenly learners are believing that they can do it on their own. So yes, why not? And simply, I could add that this is very direct now. And learners, no way they will get confused. They know exactly what is the mistake. So yes, I would say big yes. You are increasing the learners' confidence in getting to know things on their own and correct themselves. But what could be the disadvantage?
So they might feel like they're put on the spot.
Exactly.
And then this is relating to what you were saying about knowing where their interlanguage is. They might
Exactly.
not have the language to correct themselves.
Exactly. Yes, it could be embarrassing now. Okay, because suddenly you are trying to make things much easier. Some learners are eager, they've raised their hand, they want to answer, but you've got only one learner who can do it. And unfortunately, this is the learner who should do it. So please take care, don't skip it or don't overuse it with all of you learners. And okay, and let me tell you something, Teresa, here for let me say something about the Arabic learners or about learners who believe, or in general, some learners just believe in the traditional role of the teacher. He is the one who should provide learners with all the information. He is the explainer. He is the one who does everything in the classroom. So some Arabic learners seem to be resistant. They won't participate because why not? Why don't you tell us? It's simply like this. You can do it. So I don't believe if it happens for other learners, but I felt it when I tried to move from the traditional role of teacher to apply some new approaches or new techniques. At least you are not doing everything on your own, and you can try to let learners be participating in the learning process or something. So some learners are believing that yes, you can tell us what is the mistake. Okay, teacher, please tell us. And it could be like that. Teacher, please tell us. We want to know this, and that's over. But the one thing, again, it's very natural according to the beliefs they have had before they are in the class. So thank you very much for sharing uh, what you've shared. I'm sorry, I didn't get the name of
It was
who
Karen
shared it. Yes,
again.
Karen. Thank you very much. Thank
She's
you very
doing
much,
most
Karen.
of the work for me.
Okay, thank you very much. And this is very nice about the third one. A very nice thing about the third one is that um, teacher is using his or her body language and now fingers to indicate the position of the error. And let me do it for you. So you go to the cinema yesterday. Okay, you go to the cinema. Holds up hand indicates second finger, which represents the second word. And what could be the advantage of this technique?
So Karen says again, kind of it immediately lets the student know where the mistake is,
Exactly.
which I think is really important.
Yes. Yes. Perfectly said, Karen. Yes. And it's exactly a very direct one. And Karen, this is important. It would be magnificent for visual learner. If you know your learners very well, you will find the visual learners are very busy while you are doing this. They can't move their eyes away from you, what you're doing. It's very effective. And as I've told you before, those visual learners are usually busy with actions. So subsequently, they will be busy with the visual drilling, with the visual action you're doing. And this is very nice. And as Karen said, this is very direct. Mm-hmm. So learners are doing things on their own. It's direct. It's very to the point. They are not distracted. And it could add some engagement, especially if you're moving away from the board. So look, what is he doing? Something new is going to happen. I tried it with many visual, and actually many visual learners are Arabic, or many Arabic learners are visual. Yes. So I've tried it many times before, and they could do it. And it could be developed for some accuracy practice while doing the control practice, because they can use their fingers to think about the auxiliaries, about the question tags, about those stuff. What could be the disadvantage of this?
So, I mean, I like how you talk about that they could use it in pair working control practice as well. Like, you know, you could get them to cross their fingers for moving things.
Exactly.
And so a disadvantage is, as Karen says, maybe that they would need some sort of training. Like, it might not immediately be obvious. Why are you pointing at your finger? Like, what's this finger got to do with anything?
Yes, super. I would simply say yes. And during the TEFL courses, I usually tell the TEFL takers that no one knows your class more than you. So I won't say that this would be the best scenario. You know your learners well. As Karen said, it shouldn't be tried for the first time, then stopped. It's consistency. If you do it, if you always do it, the more you do it, the better results you'll have. So yes, and this is a good thing, Karen, because everyone really knows his class. And again, it comes to the importance of the class profiles or the learner profiles. Okay, and now it's a question. It's I can call it, I remember David calling it a clarification request. Do you mean go yesterday? I can't forget, David. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, I think an advantage of that is you're kind of raising learners' awareness of how a miscommunication might occur. You know, sometimes I think sometimes as teachers we understand our students too much, which might not set them up well for a real life environment where they're speaking with people who aren't teachers. So little things like this can just help to avoid any breakdowns in communication in the future, or miscommunications.
Yes, exactly, Trey. I believe that, Trace, this is now a kind of genuine communication between you and the learner. It's very polite, as you said. And let me say that here, no embarrassment. You're just asking a question, and some learners can answer it, some can't. And it's still in a kind of a communicative process. You're asking and you're waiting for an answer. And this one, for some learners, usually saves time. Okay. For the disadvantage, I think that maybe some learners are, as I said before, maybe they are not familiar. I'm sorry, they are not familiar with what happens. So it will turn again to be like a guessing game. Are waiting for an answer, and some learners could be easily sidetracked. And teachers, yes.
I was going to say, I think as well, if I was doing a lesson on the past simple and they made a mistake, I wouldn't naturally go to this. I would focus much more on the kind of the grammatical part and not worry too much about what the miscommunication might be. I think a more direct approach. Yeah,
exactly. And I would simply add that, yes, I believe that this strategy, again, teacher-centered. So now you are doing the correction on your own. I can't forget that. Things, you are controlling things, and you are in the center of the class, and you are controlling the process. So it's, again, a teacher-centered. Okay, what about the fifth one, the reformulation? You went to the cinema. What do you think about it?
I mean, one of the great things about recasts and reformulations is that you show students that you understand them. You know, they're communicating, they're intelligible. So I would say an advantage is that it's kind of natural conversation. If somebody makes a mistake in their own first language or in their second language, if they're speaking to other people, we don't automatically correct them in a real life situation. We just continue. So I think a
Yes.
positive an advantage is that it's very
Yes,
authentic.
it's very positive. Yes, I will say it's very positive. And I believe this is, as you said, mistakes are happening, and I can reply, I can understand you. So it's not a big deal now. You don't have to worry about them. So yes, it's very natural. It's a real communicative example of what happens outside the classroom. Because yes, sometimes I'm saying things, but you and again, what I love about what you said, Tracer, because let me reflect about what you said to the feedback stage, for example. We usually provide some content feedback before the language feedback. And again, it's very natural because if I'm sending you an email, for example, and this email is including many grammatical mistakes, I believe that many people, if not all, won't correct the mistakes before they reply to the sender, or they are doing a kind of clarifying what thing for the sender. It's again a kind of a natural thing happens inside the classroom. I will reply to your email maybe after I will be trying to think about those grammatical mistakes or why you made them. But yes, as you said, it's very natural. We usually communicate and we can understand ourselves very well. And the others very well if we don't over focus on the mistakes. And the disadvantage, I would say again, I believe that this kind of strategies is teacher-centered, because now you're still doing things on your own and you're still in the center of the class and you are controlling the class. The delayed correction, what do you think about the delayed correction?
Can I just add as well, because Karen's commented on it as well, for E, another disadvantage is that if the students don't realize, if they aren't aware of the mistake, and if they don't really consolidate your recast, will they actually learn anything, or will they just continue to make that mistake? So yeah.
Yes, exactly. Thank you very much, Karen, for adding this. And the delayed correction could share the same points about the polite and no embarrassment and saves time about if the teacher asks a question, because here I would add it here, because with the delayed correction, we don't now correct on the spot tracer. So we are allowing learners for a more practice, a more fluency practice. And surely I won't say at the end of the lesson that Ramy said blah 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 blah. Do you think that is no? I won't say that at all. I will skip it. So it's a known. I've heard someone. I've listened to someone saying. I've found out that someone saying. And the disadvantage, unfortunately, is that some learners may forget what happens. They may not be able.
Taking the errors out of context. Sometimes we do that when we're doing feedback.
Yes, exactly. I can't forget. Did I say that? And it could be one of the disadvantages, but like delayed correction is very nice when it comes to the fluency practice, or something. And thank you very much for sharing this. And this is a kind of, I know that we're running out of time. I've been talkative.
It's great. I love talking about errors.
Thank you. Thank you very much. This is a kind of, surely, if we want to devote extra time to speak about the emergent language, I think we'll need another hour, sure. But let me let me think about a quick lexical upgrading could happen, or let me taskify the error correction, as David said. I remember his presentation till now. If you look at the sentence here, Tracer, what do you think about it? I stay in bed longer than usual this morning.
I wish.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I think, like you say, it's the perfect opportunity to give students some new language.
Yes, exactly. Yes, maybe some teachers will head for correcting stayed. For example, I stayed in bed longer than usual this morning, but why not? I had a line. This is a perfect thing to be said. Now you don't have to, again, related to the lexical approach, again, you don't have to say this very long sentence to describe an expression or fixed expression like I had a line. And another sentence is like, I wasn't able to relax and wise since the early morning. Like, again, grammatical mistakes about using was not. But what about the verb stressed? Yes, sure. You may think about relax, worried, able to relax and worry, but simply you can say stress. And before I leave, I've got some points from the deputation now. I've got like, what could be like a piece of cake? What were the things we tried to stick to? It's not because our trainers, our fabulous trainers, asked us to do that. It's simply because we believe that they are very effective when it comes to lesson planning and when it comes to better error correction techniques. And I remember that we usually plan with feedback in mind, and we usually allow feedback slots in our plan. David told us we usually, or we must leave time and space for it. We usually monitor, and monitoring is not strolling. It's not walking beside the learners. You need to monitor all the time. You need to know exactly what you're monitoring, what you're aiming to achieve while monitoring, how you will write down your data and what you will do with it. Sometimes some teachers believe that error correction should be left till the end of the lesson. I will say no, it doesn't always happen. Sometimes especially with the accuracy-based activities, you need to deliver corrections on the spot. As I said, as I've told you, even during the fluency practice traces, some learners may forget. Suddenly things are out of, and you are writing decontextualized examples on the board. It's not easy for your learners to recall what happened. I remember this very well. It's about the board or the presentation and how you will write the corrections. I think the more organized your board is, the better presentation you'll be providing, because like, don't make it like you are writing once, it pops into your mind, you're writing on the board and then you're writing it in a different place. It will be a kind of distraction for many learners. Again, a good thing you say that if you're trying to be selective and you are picking some mistakes, it would be very nice if you presented them again during a context where learners feel that this language or what I will deal with is contextualized. So I believe that it's important because I can use it outside the classroom. They are not separate, or they are not only for the sake of achieving the aims of this stage, and after that I forget it. If it's presented through a context, I've got some highly, or like learners got some belief that this language is important, not only for their class, not only for the teacher, but maybe outside the classroom I can use it. And thank you very much, Trace. I didn't believe that it happened. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And
It was awesome.
I won't say more than thanks. Thank you very much.
We've had a fabulous final comment coming from Karen as well. She agrees not leaving error correction till the end. Sandwich the feedback between two attempts. Get a first attempt at a task, provide feedback with what they did well and error correction, redo the task again with a different partner or group. Feedback on what they did better this time, not just the errors. We want them to carry forward what they do well too. Awesome. Fabulous session, Ramy. I think we've all got lots of great tips. And I mean, I think when you showed that first slide about the recognition and all those stages that our teacher brain goes through when we hear an error, it's pretty impressive what we do. So yeah,
Thank you very
well
much,
done to all the teachers out there.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you very much, everyone, for attending this session. Thank you very much again and again, Tracer. I really owe you a great deal, and I'm totally thankful. Thank you very much, Tracer.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to have the coffee break now. Give me maybe 5 minutes to grab some water, and then I'll open up the coffee break. And thank you again, Ramy, and everyone will see you again soon for another TEFL Development Hub session.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay.